And welcome back. Imagine there's going to be a week's difference between
I
these
know. I'm wearing exactly the same clothes. We all are wearing exactly the same clothes, you know.
What are the odds of that? A week later, go.
Mad.
Boy, you haven't heard of a fucking washing machine?
I haven't left the room during the whole fucking time. I've been in captain.
The funny thing is, if he would have been here for a whole week, you definitely would have seen Adam land on the floor at one point. That's just, it's a weekly thing. Welcome back to the User Active Podcast with me, your host Justin Freeburn, and my co-host Soupy Campbell. Again, second week in a row, funny enough, we have our hilarious guest, Mr. John Devlin.
What's happening?
So,
If you listened last week, we were talking a lot of shite.
We were
Literally. Pissing, shiting,
carcinogenic.
pork.
I
Right?
think that should be great.
I know. Pissing, shiting, pork,
Oh my.
and religion, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Right? But what I realised I didn't do, which is rude of me, to ask you about how your stand-up's going. Because since the last time that you done this podcast, which I wasn't present for, but I listened to, you were toying with the idea of doing stand-up, and you have now started doing stand-up, and it's been how long?
It's been about 6 months.
6 months? 6 months? 6 months.
6 months. 6 months. Yeah. Trying to act cool about it.
Yeah.
I've done my 20th gig there.
Happy days. Good shit. Yeah.
It's going good, man. It was fucking. I have to give a shout out to the man who put me in the actual fucking mood for it, or put me forward for it. Was that one of the questions that we had on that podcast was from James McKegney, who literally just said, "When the fuck are you going to start stand-up?"
Yeah.
Is that what it was doing then?
Yola, when are you going to start the podcast? When are you going to start stand-up?
But
I'm gay. I love James.
But I love the death.
We literally just ranted for about 45 minutes about how much we love the games if you're listening to this. So.
But it's been good, man. It's been fucking. It's one of them weird things where you're shitting yourself all the time.
Yeah.
But that's the fun bit of it. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit that's actually enjoyable.
And how, just off camera here, we've been talking a wee bit about fucking about stand up and how it's going and all the rest. But I actually refrained from asking anything about your general idea of stand up, obviously to see it for the podcast.
Yeah.
What has most surprised you the most about doing stand about either
How good Justin Freeburn is.
Unbelievable.
about either your experience of it, like your lived accerience of it, or how or were there any prejudices that you had that are accurate, you know what I mean?
The weirdest
Can't
thing.
wait to do all the cokeene in the green room with celebrities. He's starting at the back of a bar.
Because John is the celebrity.
We're going, John, when are you bringing this coke out? The only one with any followers out of this. Starving to death out here.
Fuck all money. Do you know what I mean? Like, but no, the weird man. I'd be really insane that I had this perception when I started comedy that everybody was like
Adam Byrne.
Adam Byrne is Adam Byrne. I love him to death, but he's the epitome of what I thought a comedian was like.
We were laughing about this. We were like, when you first meet Adam, he's exactly what you imagine a comedian would be.
Absolute skitter.
He'll test you and all,
but
cause some fucking like electric shit in your brain to malfunction, like, you know.
But the weirdest thing I found is how fucking weirdly supportive everybody is of each other, just wanting to do well. There's no middle gate. Like whatever else, when I done stuff online, I remember there's always this concept where it was like, what can you do for me though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, people genuinely just want you to do fucking well because it supports. It's like a collective fucking blob.
There is definitely some mutual back scratching going on.
Always
in the interest of everybody.
Of everybody on the show doing well. You know what I mean? That's what I've learned.
And that is always what I love about it. Is always the end goal. And there's never, bar probably a couple of anomalies maybe, there's never instances where someone's not getting booked or getting booked for favourable reasons. And it's literally just, is this going to be the best show possible? I think this person will do well. You're getting booked. Yeah. Or even just like running jokes by each other and shit. I wasn't sure about what the crack was with the comedy scene. I was a fan of it for years.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All that shit. You listen to all the big hitters. Pick a podcast. I've listened to it, you know. But didn't know what the crack was in the scene. I knew Sean, went up, done Madden's, blah, blah, blah. You know, I've told this story 1,000 times. But I remember specifically Dom Doyle actually being... Have you met Dom Doyle?
No, not yet.
So he books the bad one. Yeah, books Bad Otter. Newton Orange was on last week, right? And he was right behind me in the line, and I was the last one to sign up to Madden's that night. And he was like, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. I told him the name. He's like, how many gigs you done? And I was like, 0. And he was like, oh, fuck, first time. And it was him and Donnie Kingston, actually. And everyone was like, oh, we've got fresh meat. And I was like, oh, no, I shouldn't have said nothing in my head. Right? But thinking that for like a split second, and then they were just like so supportive, being like, here's what I think, here's what worked for me, here's what worked, that mightn't work for you. People give you advice, but it's not like unwarranted. And it's never like, you should take this advice. It's like, here's what worked for me, and here's what I've seen other people do or not do. And then, funny enough, I mentioned to Dom last week when I was gigging with him, I was like, you were the first guy that I spoke to that was like, who I didn't already know was doing comedy, because I was aware of Sean, Kieran, like Pete, you know, obviously, and then all the big dogs and whatever. But the first of like the open mic scene, I suppose, if you think of it that way, and just really supportive. And I was like, oh, this is not exactly what I thought it would be at all. Like this is the chillest thing in the world. Like you know, and again, not just Dom, everybody, like yourself, everybody I've met has been unbelievably kind. And
that's it. And everybody's a fucking nerd for telling jokes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like everybody wants to kind of. Like, you know, we're all shit. Like, the thing is, I've found this is just me being fucking new at it, but like, everybody's fucking shitting themselves on whether or not a new joke's going to actually work. Yeah. So you end up being like, here, what do you think this is fucking.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and
just tell me.
There's a balance of.
There is.
No one wants to be that guy to be like, can I run bits by you? You know?
No.
But there's also, and no one wants to, like, I've never noticed anyone do it. Yeah. Even. We'll say we're waiting to go on in Madden's. No one is trying to be too funny. You can tell people are having a laugh and fucking about and maybe trying bits out, but no one makes it really obvious to the point where it's like, I don't really give a fuck what you're talking about now, because all they're just trying bits, you know.
But there's a few like ones maybe a bit higher up than us would do that to you, but.
But there's probably more at stake for those people that are trying to sell tickets, though, if that makes sense.
That's it.
Whereas us, we're just haven't cracked, like, you know.
But what I love about like this level of comedy, like, just it's real raw, real, like it makes me feel like, you know, like you feel like sometimes you're like an imposter in it, but then you're like, this is literally, we're doing exactly what like all the like Bill Burrs and Chappelle's they're showing up at dingy wee comedy clubs and they're down on their hole somewhere and they're just fucking starving and fighting tooth and nail to get a joke out. And like that's what I love. And the green rooms are always like good crack, and everyone's always either just riddled with shit. But you know what I've noticed about a few of the bigger guys? They don't like you talking to them when they're in the green room.
That's fair.
I suppose you know 15 years of comedy.
Do you know what though? People always come up to me before I do a set, and I'm fucking pacing, I'm bouncing, you know, from left to right. I described it as not exactly anxiety, but it's like I'm putting myself in a certain state where like you need a wee bit of the anxiety to make your set good. You need to be a wee bit scared of it before it becomes good.
It's the necessary component.
And like I've had friends or whatever come along to the gig and see me, like, and they're like, he's gonna fucking book. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's like he's done. And then end up, I go on stage, and there is that. It's really, I've never had it before, never been able to explain it to anybody before, apart from comedians who get it. There's this moment where you just go up, and the moment you are fucking present, like on that stage, it's fucking cocaine. You know what I mean? You're just, there's nothing in there but you, your joke, and the crowd, and that's it. You know what I mean?
You know what that is? Stand up wouldn't feel as good if it wasn't for that.
Exactly. That's
because what makes
only reason you're doing it.
What makes stand up good is the risk that you're taking. Like, to be shit. And without that, it's anyone's doing it, and it's just nothing. It's just a therapy session, like, you know. Whereas that risk of like, oh my god, I know that person, or you know, fuck, I don't know, I don't want to die in a hole in front of all these people. You know, all this shit, like. I even like slipping up and maybe not showing yourself in a good light if you've got a joke about a touchy subject. You're like, that died in its hole, and maybe they think I'm a dick now, and all this shit. But without comedy or without that possibility, it's nothing. Sorry, I realised that I asked you a question and then started telling me own life. So is there any prejudice that you thought, or anything that surprised you in the comedy scene before and after?
Do you know the feeling you get whenever you're when you have so Johnny Bo said it to me, and I've never forgot it. It was like, become comfortable in the silence. And I didn't get what he meant. I didn't get what he meant until I actually felt it, you know, and being present there. Like,
he just didn't want to talk to you.
Fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, he nicely
I say that to people when I'm like, please shut up. Just get comfortable with it. But I'm not going to talk to you.
He said that to me as well. And I remember going, I can't do that.
The first 5 gigs I did, it was like I'm rushing to the fucking punchline.
Yeah,
I need to get that out right away, or people are laughing.
Yeah.
And then I remember writing a joke specifically where I was just like, let's just leave it a wee minute and see what happens. And I remember there was this, you know, when you know you're about to hit a punchline and somebody gets the punchline just a wee bit before and you have that wee laugh and you're like, oh, this is going to fucking work. And then the blazer off. So that's the best feeling in the world. So the idea that that one of the prejudices I had was like that silence is deadly. You know, that's going to be the worst thing that can happen to you. But it actually is a tool that every comedian uses to fucking, you know, really build on attention on a set.
I used to be very, very... someone needs to make noise. I need to make noise.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just let something sit for a wee minute. You light the fuse, let it sit for a minute, and maybe too long. I've done it too long before, and then it's hitting. But then see when you get that perfect moment and you hit it, and you know, see when you know it's gonna bang. We were saying earlier, see when you're in the middle of telling a joke and you know it's gonna bang, you're like, oh, this is delightful. And then the even better feeling than that is when you're telling the joke, you know it's going to bang while it's happening, and then you also know the perfect segue to the next bit.
Yeah.
It's just
next
like
level.
The next 3 minutes of my life are going to be bliss here. You know it.
And then I think the other part of it that one of the bigger things that I got recently was like people turn around and say things like, I could never do that. And then you realize something really important. It's like, no, you could.
Yeah.
Literally, I've seen people go up with like all forms of mental conditions, all forms of fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen people who literally,
Full on.
It's a melting pot of mental illnesses.
Full on.
Like, and they fucking kill. You know what I mean?
Everyone's
so
got a wee wanting them, but there's some people that have a wee needing them.
A desperate desire.
But here, fair fucking play.
No, literally, I have more respect to them for it. You know what I mean?
We're all the same, bro. You know what I mean?
We're definitely not. You know, we're all
What's been your like favorite thing about it so far? You know, as in like you had asked, like what was something you didn't expect? What is something that you've went, I love this part of it? I know you said about like that moment when you're on stage, but like outside of like actually stage, whenever it comes to like being a part of like the melting pot of comedy, what is your like favorite thing? What are you excited for? Whether it's subconscious or it's like, is there something where you go, I love being a part of this, or is it like?
I think like a lot of people have really fucking, what's the word for it? Really philosophical answers to this shit, and I can be real about it and just saying that I love what it feels like to go up there. And like actually, you know, go up there and genuinely feel the like adrenaline. It's a bit like you start to realize how all the bits of your brain work when you're up there. I know it's really hard to explain, but like you start to realize how anxiety really is meant to work. You know, where it makes your brain freak out, but it's like trying to trigger something in you that like don't fuck this up. And then you get
exactly what we talked about. The tombola.
I
was saying like the way like my brain works under the pressure is like a tombola where it will spit things out at me and I have no other choice but to say that. So like it's like, you know, like the bingo callers like, and here we go, fentanyl jambon. And I go, that's what I have to say now. So that's the way like I think exactly.
And then
like that pressure your brain puts you under. You know,
and I think that's the best way to answer that question. Like you can psychoanalyze it as much as you want, but see just shitting yourself, doing something that scares the fuck out of you, and then coming off afterwards, even if you do good, bad, or whatever.
It's why people jump out of planes.
And
that's it's the same sort of thing. You know what I mean? Genuinely.
It is though. It is. It
well, not always. You know what I mean? Sometimes
5 minutes at Madden.
Plummeting
to your death.
It depends. Having a parachute's the actual question.
Why did you just say the same thing twice?
But you're probably at more threat of death outside of Madden's, where like some like jumpy smack just.
I did.
Maybe you wore tracksuit bottoms and something. The barman.
You were there Soupy the night the boy got glass outside the thing.
Witnessed 2 glassings in my comedy career so
far. That was fucking mental. That's when I realized that comedians are actually good people too. It was like, I remember it was a weird mix. No, but that was the weird bit. It was like everybody immediately stopped, and I remember Jazz running over, and she's like, we need to fucking help him. And I went over where
Jazz it was.
And we went over and helped him, whatever. But when I came back, every fucker was just ripping the piss out of the situation. That was the best thing ever.
Jazz is American. She's not. She's not as accustomed to that sort of thing. Like so, Jazz would be looking at that going, "That's fucking metal." And we're going, here
it is again."
Although Jazz probably going, fucking lucky he wasn't shot. You know?
His kneecaps have remained intact. You know, like, but no, I love it, man, and it's the idea that it's constantly something that you can improve on. I think that's something that a lot of people miss out in life. I think people get to a certain point in life, and then, like I say, it's a job, for example, and you get to a certain point. I noticed it in my current profession and other places too, where it's like you get till fucking the highest place, your manager, fucking district manager, whatever it is, and there is nothing else except for you just to absolutely bend over and take shit from somebody who's higher than you. You know what I mean?
It's always the way. It's always
yeah.
a sense of freedom. I remember one time I was gigging, and everyone has this realization, and it's probably I know it's something that's so obvious that it's not spoken about, but when you do say it, it's almost as if it's so profound.
Yeah.
I was gigging, and I always drive to gigs, but one gig it was in Newry, and I had a couple of bottles, went on stage, done well, came back off, had a couple more bottles, and I was like, I get paid for this. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
It's just mad. Like,
it's the feeling of like I'm at work right now. Like,
Yeah.
I've had so many gigs where it's even on this. Half the time I'm like we're recording, I'm just drinking. like everyone else shows up to work, you know. I'm just sitting here with like wee glasses of whiskey and all.
but it's kind of just like that's cool and whatever, and you know whether you're getting paid or not doesn't even matter. But it's more just like there's no one's being like telling you can't do it this certain way. You can't have a drink or you can't whatever. You know, I've maybe gigged drunk twice, right? Not even drunk, just while drinking twice, right?
Yeah.
3 times maybe. But
it's like frowned upon also. Like everyone has like a wee drink at
I've
it.
never drank.
yeah,
But everyone it's like
kind of,
frowned upon to like go on stage blocked unless you pull something out of your like I've went on a couple times blocked. But I turn into a fucking demon whenever I'm blocked. I'm like a crowd work fucking gremlin.
Yeah.
Like I like whenever I did Newton Ards as well.
Yeah.
And best gig of my life, and I had about 9 whiskeys in me.
Yeah,
and I was on
fair
stage
fuck.
going, I can't remember the joke, so let's talk to you. And these two like old fellas at the back who were very obviously involved with some form of paramilitary, were just talking the whole time, laughing and like not so like in the middle of someone's joke, they'd just be laughing at each other, and like they were just being so ignorant to the crowd, and I was like, they stood up, and I just started slagging them the second they stood up, and I was calling them everything. I was like, fucking, like, because one of them was like, you know, tall and fat and bald, and I was like, I hear fucking nobody you grew, and like, I was like, and then I was like, I think I called him Uncle Fester at one point, like, and he was just like looking at me on the way out, and I was like, I'm too drunk to give a fuck about how involved you are with anybody.
I might die after this, but it was good.
And it was so good because that was right at the start of the set, and I went on with the premise of fuck these guys, you know. And because no one else was acknowledging it.
Yeah.
I did it in Newry at the Whistling Donkey to a bunch of travellers as well.
Shit.
I did it where the whole night these travellers were talking at the side of the bar, and I went straight up and I was like, no one else has addressed this. What the fuck are you doing? And they were my best mate. Like both times I've done that where I've addressed the 2 scariest people in the room, like the crowd have turned on me, like turned on my side. So they've went, no, you're a good lad. No,
Finally
like,
someone said it like
and
almost,
then you've learned, and it's not like obviously promoters will hate you doing that.
Yeah.
Going, stop starting on the crowd. But, like when travellers were being too loud and like throwing things and all, and I went up and I was like fucking calling them druggies and all. You know, and then the 2 fucking paramilitary men, and I was like slagging them. The crowd were just like, oh, you're our mate now.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like I'd sold myself to them, and they were just like, anything you say, we're gonna laugh at.
Yeah, that's it.
And there's no better feeling than just having the crowd eating out of your hand, like. Now again, it's been rare to happen where like anything you touch turns to gold in one set.
That's it.
And there's been times where that Kill Your Darlings, like I was doing really well, and it was one of them things where I was never going to be able to recreate the magic, especially all new material. I was never going to be able to say it the exact way I said it.
Yeah.
But it just worked, whatever it was. And I've tried a couple of bits of it since, and they've been alright, but haven't got nowhere near that reaction. Sometimes you just strike gold with how your brain's ticking and how it's coming up with things, how you're saying things, how you even look when you're saying. There's so many different things. But what I was going to ask you was, you're talking about the silence, right? Johnny Bo said that to me as well, because when he goes up,
what do you like with your own thoughts?
So what's your favourite silence of the Lambs?
I'm still waiting just for like, what do you think about gay comedians?
They're all gay.
You want to hear Justin's opinion? Go back to go to any episode. Fuck's sake.
But someday I should just like not be on it. Someday I should just let you have it and see what happens. Viral episode. 10,000 followers on the YouTube channel.
It's just me saying about the time I shit myself to a potty. But
No.
Johnny Bow, when he goes on, he just lets silence sit for him.
Aye.
And that gave me bad anxiety. But the question I was going to ask you was, have you done, now this is a thing that I remember speaking about this in this podcast and we've discussed it before.
Yeah.
Have you had a water break yet?
Oh, you mean really like
sip of the water yet?
No, I was
Scary, isn't it? Scary as fuck. It
It
is.
sounds so silly, doesn't it?
yeah.
But it's like
So scary.
especially because I have like that fucking weird tremor in my hand, so I can't really like if I hold this, it's gonna fucking shake. Like, like especially when you're like, I don't really get as nervous on stage. I get nervous before a gig, but see when I go on stage, I'm like fucking like I own this place. No matter how bad I'm doing, I'm going. What he's gonna do? Fight me?
So delusional.
It's pure.
But you need that
It's
though.
pure
Like.
delusion, like, but it's the only thing that gets me through a gig, no matter how bad or good it's doing. I'll like go to like I've done the sip of water now, and I'm like doing it in a way like, or I'll take like a pint up with me and I'll do it, and I'll just look at them and be like, bitches. You know?
I have finished the one thing I did recently, which is again, this is all this fucking stupid things that no normal person in the audience is thinking about. But I was able to finish a joke whilst I was putting the mic back into the stand. Yeah, and that was fucking. I was really happy about that.
Okay,
you know, they landed was one of the dumbest things ever. But I thought about it the whole fucking 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
see, even that when you're
just walk off stage.
But see, when you're saying about like the micro transactions, we'll say, that you have with the audience, the people don't notice or see, like, or pay attention to. See, and I was good at it when I first started, and then I started getting worse at it whenever I got more comfortable, which was weird.
Yeah.
When I'm coming on to my last bit, and Darren Matthews actually gave me this advice as well. Come on, introduce yourself, mic out of the stand, mic stand away.
Yeah.
It's not about the mic stand, it's about you, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. And then, cool, I incorporate that, that's all good. But at the start, I was really good at taking the mic stand back and go, I'm going to leave you to this one. And then everyone knows you can read body language and you go, here we go, we're ready for the laugh. And I struggle with that sometimes now because if I'm trying new material, I'm like, is this the end of it? Is it not? You know,
I get you.
But see those things that go through your head that no one else sees, notices, and then you come off stage and you could kill it. But I could go, fuck, I meant to lift that mic stand. You know what I mean?
That'll fuck you. And
then my head's wrecked. Not that I'm not happy with it, but I'm just like, right, I need to improve that next time. You know?
I described this to a friend recently when they were asking me about writing comedy and then performing comedy, and it literally is like magic, and it's like everybody else has a different trick than you, and your objective halfway through is to figure out how that trick worked. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, it's literally like you're not trying to copy the joke, you're just trying to figure out how it worked, and then you're going to try and create a joke that did the same thing, but with a fucking, and instead of a parrot you're using a rabbit. Do you know, or something like that?
And it's and the Protestant rabbit, like
the rabbit with the rabbit with just one eye. Do you know what I mean? He was that Protestant, he had one eye. You know? I love it. But I don't know, man. It's a cruel mistress too. You know, that's the beauty of it. Like, it's like a fucking toxic ex-girlfriend that you have that you really want to get back. But you know, but it just never gives you enough. You know what I mean? Like, you'll get that text at 3 o'clock in the morning saying I missed you, and then they'll ghost you for like 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean?
Like McGibbon. I miss you, baby. You're like,
don't you mean Book McGibbon? You know what I mean?
one of the best, like most satisfying things I've ever come across is Luke McGibbon having a new Facebook called Book McGibbon. It's so good. But
do you know he has a I'm throwing away your secrets here, Luke. He has a fake email address he uses to book like shows across the water and all.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Tony Stardust. It's a fake manager, and he goes, I represent Luke McGibbon. It's Luke Folliges. Sorry to throw you under the bus there.
You're talking about pre notions I had about people. Luke was one of them. Because I remember before I met Luke, I seen a video with she and Todd and all the rest, and they were up at the piss and saying he was an evil bastard.
Like, he's a mean cunt. Yeah,
I was like, apart of every time for the first 3 times I met him, I was like,
you're waiting on it.
I just waiting for him to say something. Like after I came off the set, and I was like, that was really good and all, and I'd be like, but like, what are you gonna call me a cunt now or what? Or like, what's
which is weird. When I messaged Sean McLevy about a year before I started doing comedy. To ask him how to fuck. This is pre-Madden's days.
Yeah.
And he said, message Luke McGibbon. He's the guy that books the lower level gigs. Like, that's unfair of me to say. I apologize. He books like the PAV open mics and stuff like that. Lower level. That's not right. Anyway.
He gives newer acts opportunities.
Yes. So apologies, right? So, and listen, I'm saying that, and I was already texting him last night. Being like, give me all the gigs, please. You know. So whatever, right? So, but he books those gigs, the entry level gigs. We'll say, there we go, right?
Yeah.
And I messaged him. And I went on to his Facebook just to see who is this guy, what am I in for, what's the crack, give me the vibe. And I went on and seen like a couple of the clips of his or something on his Facebook or as a poster or something. And I was like, I've met this guy so many times, steaming in a nightclub, and that guy doesn't want to be in the nightclub. But we befriend each other, and he's a nerd, but he's a good lad. And then I met him and was like, you are him. You are exactly what I thought you were going to do. This is before people were saying he's a fucking out bad striking him there. But he doesn't. Nice
no.
World,
that's what I want to be. I finish with, by the way, is the fucking nicest guy in the world.
But the thing is, in that roast battle, that man's capable.
Oh, Jesus.
He's capable.
Like what he did to fucking Alan Irwin gave me the skitters for about a week. I was like, oh my God. And then see if you like see Luke on stage whenever he starts doing crowd work. See if you get Luke in a rowdy crowd. He's the scariest man. You're fearing for your life afterwards.
But what I always say is he's literally a therapist. He knows. He knows how to hit you from the darkest angles. That's just
the scariest thing. To try and avoid the topic of comedy more.
Going ahead,
because we've done 20 minutes of fucking just pure comedy.
And last week we just talked about shit and piss.
Yes, I've had your fill of John Devlin. What do you think of Oasis?
Let's go. Yeah, current events.
All right. I like. Clearly the money is probably, like one of them kind of realized like, Gen Z have no fucking clue who Oasis are.
Yeah, let's show these concerts.
Let's show these concerts. You know what's fucked up though? From my job, there's a couple of times where, I work sort of with secondary school, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And we had to go out on a couple of school trips. The weirdest thing is, what was like your like 1980s songs you would have played when you were going to like a football game or something like that there? Like,
that's good.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what was the song, like, if you were going to like a game or something like that there, what would be the one song that you would like, everybody would know the words to, something like that there? There's always one, like,
I actually don't. That's a good point.
It's always some fucking DJ Cammy, some bullshit like that there.
When I was playing GAA, my mom used to do like the umpire, to say if a goal, a pointer, a goal. My mom did, yeah. But like people's ma's did, and I was a goalkeeper, so my mom was obviously just that, like, I'll go up beside him. But there was the umpire.
You fat cunt! Serve the ball!
I've got a couple of funny stories actually, right? But you're saying about the song, like a Chavi's tune. There was another woman, another player's mom doing umpire on the other side, because it had to be neutral, one from each team. And one time, this woman's phone went off, and it was a really tight match, and my head was wrecked, and but it was though,
smoking and all.
But as a goalkeeper, you need to stay locked in, like, because when you're called to action, you need to be ready, like. And I was standing there, and this woman's phone went off, and it was that tune, "Take Me Away a Million Miles Away." And then her phone rang, and me and I looked at each other, and then we looked at your woman, and she took out the phone all nervous, goes, "Take me away is right." Went and answered the phone, and I remember my look at each other, just laughing, being like, "That's cracker." Like,
the weird fucking thing about Oasis is that, like, their version of, like, our version of fucking Bass Hunter and all the rest is Wonderwall. And they know every fucking word. That is freaky as fuck.
Yeah,
like
that's kind of always been a thing.
Because I think songs,
like, generational.
I think songs go really fuck popular, cringy as fuck. Then the kids sing it as like an anthem. So weirdly, in a weird way, I think like the next Oasis album or the next Oasis tour is going to be filled with like 50-year-old fucking men who are all in the dole and like sold a pile of drugs to get to here, and then just kind of 13-year-old wee lads, like
wearing that one green parka coat for. It's thinking of piss and fucking blue Transformers, like.
So I think it's like they are. I like Oasis, to be fair. I just think the world overplays them sometimes.
I like them, like their music. People enjoy what they enjoy. I personally don't get the hype.
Yeah, I get you.
But I do like their music, and maybe I haven't delved into the discography too much, whatever.
Yeah.
But it seems just very like a mate of mine's really, really huge fan of it, and he's actually going to Australia in January, and he's going to buy tickets to the August Dublin one. And if they don't do a worldwide tour, he's coming back for it. That's how big of an Oasis fan he is.
Yeah.
And fair enough. Yeah, yes, like it's like Biggie and Tupac come back.
It's
like Biggie and Tupac for Gimps, right? No,
I was like either Noel or Liam was shot.
yeah, they probably
like,
shot a few things up the veins.
There's one story I like hearing about them, and it's the idea that they back in the day they were the first ones to do kind of like a popular music kind of what's the word I'm looking for, like diss against another artist, and it was really, really cool way they did it. I think it was like Nirvana released at the time like a song, I can't remember what the fuck it was, but it was like I Want to Die, you know, it was one of them real fucking
I know it well.
and then apparently just our Liam Gallagher or something heard this and was like, fuck that, that's the most depressing shit. It was when grunge was a big thing. Like fuck that, I hate that, and then they released Live Forever just to say fuck you. Do you know, like I was like fair.
And here, what an anthem.
Do you know what I read recently, and I think it's just on the topic of current affairs. Have you ever heard of your doll Baba? You know, the mystical Baba or whatever. Look her up there. She's the one that she's like the Nostradamus.
She predicts the future.
Should you see what she released for 2025? No.
No.
Look it up there now. It's pretty.
Why is she like putting my horoscope?
Yeah. But I was thinking like the doll sort of said there's a pilot one she came out with recently. She said like the world's gonna end in like 31:25. I'm like, nah, fuck. You know, I'll not be around for that.
Yeah.
Then there's like a fuck ton of stuff. There's going to be a war on Mars. I think that one's pretty fucking mental. Like a colony war on Mars between like the US and Russia or something.
Did you not watch John Carter? No.
What was the other ones that read? She just and like what I was thinking was like this doll's blind
to begin in 2025.
She
that says it every year. She's a fucking mental bitch. She's blind. She doesn't even know.
Broken clock is right twice a day, but
it's gonna end one day. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how the fuck the world's gonna end. Like that's.
Sorry, she said the apocalypse is anticipated to begin 2025, but the human race will not be eradicated until 5079. We're all right.
If I
make it through 2025 without an apocalypse, we're doing well.
That's like
plastic straws, we're all right.
That's like eating fucking smoky bacon crisps and saying they're carcinogenic and saying they're going to kill you in 30 years.
Back last week.
Oh my god.
Oh, I don't know. Like the whole thing's mad. What do you think the most likely way the world's going to end?
So I used to this. I don't know, again, if it's an OCD thing, but like, you know,
Soupy thinks if he doesn't switch the light on 3 times in a row, the world will end.
Here.
And you will have caused it.
Get out of my head. But no, what's the word? Catastrophizing is a big part of, because obsessing over negative things and maybe feeling that you're at fault of them because you don't do X, Y, Z, right? But I remember being like, oh, fuck. Being obsessed at a young age of the world ending.
I was in the same. Do you know what it was though? It's because us fuckers got it worse than any other generation. True. We had the fucking, when we were like fucking 6 or whatever. You weren't probably born. Like in the early 2000s, there was like the whole millennial thing, or you know, like what do they call it? Like the
Y2K.
Y2K. That's the one.
I was born 99. I know Y2K.
You were one.
I was one. I was one going, fuck me, computers. What are you doing?
Then I mind there was about fucking 16 comets that were just meant to hit the earth that never did. Do you remember that, right? And then there was
Bad Bible post one every week.
Yeah. But I mean, when I was younger, there wasn't as much of an opposition to that on the internet. So every fucker was just literally running around being like, I know it's coming. I remember sitting in my primary school class, looking out the window, being like, this is it. Like an eclipse was happening. It's like, that's fucking it, lads, we're done. And kids were crying, full blown, bawling their eyes out.
So I remember 2012.
I don't know. I was the Aztec calendar.
That's what I was going to say. The early calendar. It was like, calendars end, you know? They just ran out of space.
Shout out to the man calendar. People sit wrong. But so I remember being like, you know, I have an older brother, and I would have hung around his mates and 4 years older, and they would have wound me up, obviously being the younger family, or whatever, right? But there was this that they just used to say things like, and it was weird, as if they knew it OCD when I didn't, like, I didn't even know, because they'd be like, oh, if you don't like score a goal, like, you know, blah blah blah's gonna die or whatever, you know, and I'd be all like, fuck, can't go in for the dinner, my man dog going mad, me mitts and spouts cold with me trying to hit a fucking hat trick. Anyway, but there was one time where we were just sitting out my front, and it was a day of calm, right? Of calm, and it was the summer.
Name of the episode.
But it was a nice day. nothing wrong, no anxieties. The world was, you and I are going to live forever, right? As far as I'm concerned, right? And somebody, our neighbours who lived across the street, came out. We used to hang about with them, and their man came out. And I remember both of them coming out the front door, and a few of us standing outside my house, and boys, I'm after seeing on the news there. There's a big comet coming towards Earth right now, right? And I remember I ran. I was like, I need to get away. As if I could outrun it, you know. I remember running, going, oh no, it's finally happening.
I run into the bus shelter.
It was the thing where it was, and I think this is what worsened my OCD, because she caught me slipping, right? I thought shit was sweet, but it wasn't. And then after that, I remember being like, oh fuck, bad news could come at any time, you know? Which is true. Like, I mean, it is true.
Yeah.
But also, I had to learn to be like, right, no, that's just an isolated incident. And here, Paulo, you were wrong. But no, but
Still here, bitch.
But I remember her coming out and saying that, and then I remember like discussing with people in school, because that was one of those things. A comment was meant to hit her or straight or something, and I remember that was a thing. But then now we're so desensitized to it. You're saying Lab Bible posted, and then you scroll past it, and all of a sudden Snoop Dogg's eating the Kinder Bueno. You know what I mean? And he's like,
and you're just watching him eat the Kinder Bueno.
And then he decides that like a Baby Ruth's better, and you're going, great job. I literally watched Snoop, Channing Tatum and some old woman eat US versus UK snacks on Facebook the other day, and it's always after a nap.
Naomi Aki from the movie Blink Twice.
I'll be fucking real with you, right? You know what? When I'm in the real fucking what the kids call brain rot mode these days, like I get locked into them fucking NPC people. You seen them? You know the NPC
Miles Morales NPC.
It's all like, you know, Rose, and like I'm fucking dying. That's just to see some smack in Belfast try it. Do you know what I mean? Just let it like, what's happening, mate? You know, throw me. You know, like,
what's the?
It's all like, a rose. As a fucking rose, is it?
And then, can they make up their own emojis? Or
I think so, or something. I don't know. Fucking.
There's a galaxy, 2 for a tenner.
It becomes a game of fucking bingo, you know, all the legs, fucking 77 or something.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Actually, no one I've seen. The gym I go to, I see people put up a tripod sometimes and do their set or whatever. I used to a couple of years ago be like, fucking what are you at? Go to the gym and I now understand that they're correct in their form and it's all good. I've seen a lot of like Joey Swole videos. If you're familiar with him, he would call out people who like go mad and
It looks like if I just worked out.
If you were he's Justy Swole.
He's just there in his car going, this guy is a fucking asshole.
And he just
Yeah. Oh no, he's great. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, but
he's gonna come out as a pedo or something, isn't it? And they're just gonna clip me saying that.
Yeah. That's one of the best memes I've seen in the last fucking while. Was the one about the like there was a period there where just every fucking YouTuber you've ever loved or whatever, any child ever loved. Turns out they loved you too, but just in a way. Like, you know,
it was always like you know, what are you going to do now?
That's exactly it.
You're a famous YouTuber. You
retire.
You can retire. You can move on. You can buy a business. What are you going to do next? And she's like, I love kids.
Footer.
How do I change that word? How do you spell footer?
I don't even know.
Or there was the one where it's like it's Michael Jackson, and then it's like Michael Jackson. What would you say to your younger self? I like no, it's like sorry. It scrolls across and it's all like young Michael Jackson. Like, did we make it? The next one's across. Take out your willy.
So stupid.
I know. It is proper brain rot, but
I remember Rizzle. Never mind. Oasis. Rizzle kicks are back.
They're back.
Yeah.
Down with the trumpets, bro.
Yeah.
Getting up with the trumpets.
Yeah, I swear to God, Rizzle kicks are back. I wrote about them in my key stage 3.
They were class.
Yeah, I wrote about them. How old are you?
I'm 20. I'm turning 30 and 29. I don't know why.
Okay,
so I know Rizzle kicks.
I
know I don't look fucking 29.
Get it, Grandpa. No, what I was going to ask you was if I just out of complete chance if you remember your key stage 3 and if you were the same age as me. I mean,
I would have been 2 years.
2 years older. Yeah. But in my key stage 3 English, one of the questions was actually I wrote about Rizzle kicks because it was something to do with reality TV, and they have a song with reality TV if you remember it.
Okay,
and then I just used them as an example because I was obsessed with it, listening to it in Tubby Day. But and then there was also I wrote about, like, I don't know if you know, like, the machinima lore of, like, Call of Duty, whatever, like St. Anna's Hutch and all them boys.
Right.
Matter.
Yeah.
Good.
You've lost me.
Yeah, but I wrote about them in my case yesterday as well, because it was like the last creative writing bit where it was just like you just
slobber on there.
This is after like a whole day of just tests all day, towards the end of the year, and I was like ready to go home and just watch YouTube, and I was like, I'm gonna write about them, and I'm not passing, like probably the only thing I've ever.
I made one of my tests, and I still fucking aced it. At the end of the page, I must have written something fucking beautiful, unbelievable.
And then I
deadly.
woke up.
No. And it was basically like, I read this unbelievable horror story or something, but I was so panicked by the end of it, I actually wrote a note to the person marking it, and I was like, I'm so sorry that this is bad, and can you please, like, I am actually just going through a tough time, can you please, like, I swear I got an AP out of it, like, I was happy,
I've broken the fourth wall before. I've broken the fourth wall, and there was
fucking Deadpool, and you're
there was one time burnt. But I wrote one time on my homework. I don't know why. I just felt all quirky and cool. Like, it was my maths homework, actually. Maths teacher hated me as well. I don't know why I done this. Tried to, like, get on a good side. But done all my maths homework, and then at the bottom, it was only meant to be one page, but I had so much working out and fucking about that I just wrote on it, turnover, right? No, right. She would have turned over. Like, she would have known. And then
go to top right.
yeah.
Turns over again. Look at bottom left. Looks at bottom middle finger.
But I goes turn over, and then I realised that I actually had enough room to actually do it on the first page, so completed it on the first page. And then instead of just scribbling out the turnover, I just wrote, comma, actually don't.
You're making your mind up.
I got the homework marked back, and she just circled it and just wrote a question mark beside it, and you could tell she was at the house with a glass of wine just going, fucking idiot.
So written the other page, made you look.
The teacher turned around to me at the time when I got the B in English, right? It was like, you were 2 marks off an A. And they was like, do you want to send it to us and we'll send it, do you want to remark?
Dispute it, like, yeah.
And then I was like, no, I don't need anybody to see that message. I'll take the B just for my shame.
In English, I was actually good at English. I didn't enjoy the comprehension bit.
No, I was
enjoyed the creative writing bit. And but the thing is that one of the creative writing assignments we had, I can't remember what the fuck it was. I think we were just given free rein about anything, and I was obsessed with Call of Duty Black Ops at the time, of course. And I just played the mission where you're in Vietnam and you're playing Russian roulette with an
the deer hunter bit.
And I just literally played for 10 seconds, pause it, write down all the dialogue, everything. Now, this is an amazing story because obviously it's written by fucking creative, fucking masterminds. And I just wrote this story out. Only changed the swear words, kept all the gore and the Russian roulette and all. And she marked it, give me a good mark because it was a good story. And then at the end, just wrote at the bottom going, bit dark.
Do you know what mine was?
Yeah.
I read out the whole plot to... Fuck, there's the interface of it. I wrote out the whole plot to Ace Ventura Jr., Pat the Detective.
Just in the hopes that nobody saw it.
So niche.
She marked it like 80% or something.
That's for shade
grammatical errors, that was it. But she was like, very creative. I was like, oh, sure, you know the wee fella played it. I was like fucking buzzing about
that teacher now writes reviews on that movie site. What do you call that fucking movie website?
Fucking
posting reviews on it.
The one ever. Oh, Kieran Franklin was on it.
The fucking
Letterbox.
Letterbox.
Yeah.
And he's got a letterbox in it. No.
I couldn't, but we'll go on.
Everybody's
I'm more of an email man.
I'd be like, you know what I'm like after I do anything, like I go on a rant about it. You wouldn't let me on it,
Band immediately cancelled. You know what I mean?
100%. I'd be straight onto it and being like, fucking. I watched that Blink twice there, that like new psychological thriller movie. Fucking wild by whole. It's like you watch Get Out.
What do you call that girl again that isn't it?
Naomi Aki.
But she's in something else. She's actually great, isn't she? I've seen her in something else.
Whitney Houston and I Want to Dance with Somebody. Yeah, she's great. But Channing Tatum played a fucking blinder in it. I know
what you're talking about. This is the millionaire one, isn't it?
Honestly, like, there's parts in it where you're going, oh, this is quite a psychological thriller, and you're kind of like tense and all, blah blah blah. But then there's like scenes in it where you're going, what the fuck? You're like walking away from the movie going, what the fuck have I just watched there? Because they do, spoiler alert, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. I'm not going to spoil, but it's basically like they go, there's always that threat. It's they followed a billionaire to his private island.
Aye.
What's going to happen? What's the worst that could happen? And in your head, you're going, it's going to be some twist. No, they do exactly what you think billionaires do on the fucking private. But they do it in a way where you're like questioning it the whole way, and you're going, maybe they do something weird, maybe they do something different.
Suggestion more than anything.
But you know what you're going. That's like in your head, you're going, they're not going to write about that. And it's exactly what you think billionaires do on a fucking private island with a load of women. It is fucking vile.
Have you seen Alien Romulus?
Not yet, no.
No, fucking class film. But I had a fundamental thing that I always had. You've seen the Alien movies, haven't you?
Oh, of course.
You've seen them? So,
familiar.
You know the crack with a face hugger thing attached to your face,
Yeah.
and then fucking shits an egg into you or whatever.
Yeah.
Why don't you just bite down? Thinking of his fridge, you know, it takes like, you know, it's, I don't know, cock or whatever, and like shoves it directly into your mouth and then plants an egg, and just.
And it always takes it like 48 hours to do it. It's never like straight away. It's like you're usually like in a cocoon.
Just stop sucking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I can't. That's my issue.
Oh god.
It gets on to me and I'm just fucking muscle memory.
Nobody touched me like this in years.
It gets on me. People are trying to help me. I'm like,
alright, wraps around your neck and you're like, fucking choke me hard.
And you actually get so addicted to it that you start IVF-ing those eggs.
IVF.
I can get 2 in me. I can get 2 and 3.
Alien IVF.
That's the next movie.
Do it again.
Oh god.
But we've had about 45 minutes there. This time actually, thank you very much for coming on, John.
Thank you for having me. You know what I mean?
Mate.
It was beautiful.
Anything coming up?
I have an unreal show, Portside Inn. Come on down.
Friends.
Unbelievable comedians, unbelievable crack. Justin will be there, Soupy will be there. I'll be there.
It's Soupy's birthday. He
My
will be
birthday.
there.
It's Soupy's birthday. Never mind, he's not going to be there.
I specifically booked it on Soupy's birthday.
He'd be off, I don't know, in Dublin, shitting himself and doing coke. I'm worrying about carcinogen.
IVF and alien eggs.
I like it.
I actually know.
They're carcinogenic, them alien eggs. But have you anything coming up or?
What am I doing? This is going out next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll-
Not this Tuesday coming, but
following. Oh yeah, sorry. I will be.
You're on holidays?
I'll be on holidays. I'll be having daytime pints and €4.50 fucking packets of Marlboro Reds, and I'll camel if there's no Marlboros. I'm not falsy, but what am I doing? I'm fucking floating about. You know yourself, Soupy Stephen.
You'll see
Fucking.
him
You know what I mean?
you'll see him somewhere. But yeah, I was gonna say I'll put your your socials on. I was like, you already follow him. Let's be honest. You've seen him. Is he a Catholic TikToker?
For the one fucking Venezuelan lad that just stumbles across it. He might really be into Catholic.
Hola, senor.
He's like Joey Tribbiani who's doing Japanese lipstick commercials.
Yeah.
But, thank you very much for watching, folks. Tune in every Tuesday morning, and if you can't watch at that point, kill yourself. No, anyway. Keep her lit. Tell your dad stop texting me.
And tell him text me instead.
Yeah, he's all for it.
Yeah. I'm always down. If your dad's literally a face hugger from aliens, just
tell him to stop
let
sucking.
him lap on. Just tell your dad stop sucking. Thank you.
Start licking.
Comment that, if you've made it this far into it, comment that on the put in the comments, tell your dad to stop sucking.
And then actually tell your dad to stop sucking. This time he came off it.
Anyway, folks, take it easy. Goodbye.